there is a question that is burning in the minds of many, if not an infinite total of individuals out there. For you, Mr. Miguel.
Uh-oh.
Have you seen a particular film trailer? Have you watched the Renfield film trailer yet?
No, but
Okay.
I know of it, and I didn't know that there was a trailer out for
There's a trailer.
But I'm excited for that movie.
Well, because we are an auditory medium, and this is a film trailer, so I don't think that copyright can be, brought up at all. I think this is a perfect opportunity for us to put that trailer on, and for you, the world's greatest and, most ill-informed Nicolas Cage fan, to give us your first blush.
Okay.
So
that is a brilliant idea.
Because when I saw it, that was my absolute first response. Was my Twitch was I need to know what Michael thinks of this.
All I know is that I am non-canonically calling it a sequel to Vampire's Kiss, and that is all I'll say to it.
Okay. I'm going to be very interested in how you get your brain wrapped around to get to that. But,
all right, let me see how I can rationalize this. Let's go.
Okay. Let's. Do you need to pull this thing up? Do you want me to pull it up? What would be easiest?
We did the share screen, so I figured you can go right into it.
And because I no longer have premium, I get to watch a really bad... Oh, no. It launched right into it. I'm flummoxed. Nice. I'm so used to seeing... God. When I drag it back to the start, it immediately plays. Technology!
How does this work? Oh!
Okay. So, we'll see whether or not this audio is going to just blow everyone into oblivion here. But can everybody see it?
Yes.
Sir.
Okay. Well, we're just going to pop this puppy up and see what happens. So here we go. Maybe. Oh, now it does not autoplay.
I was like, you gotta hit the... Yeah.
Fuck your face.
Yeah, I gotta admit, when I watched that earlier today, my first thought as well was, I gotta know what Michael thinks.
Yeah, it is just exactly what you would expect from a Nicolas Cage film of that fashion. I'm hoping that the max headroom glitching that is going to be taking place for the remainder of this episode is not impacting my audio at all, so you all are hearing it okay.
I could hear you clearly.
Audio is good. All right.
Yeah, I love the max headroom reference. Well done.
Yeah, so what happened earlier is I had gotten on and I logged on since I am no longer affiliated with the Evil Empire, and we'll finally... sorry,
you.
Michael. So for back there, you can bleep me. You're fine.
I will bleep it.
Once I shook free of the clutches of the dastardly bastards over there, I no longer have that affiliation. So apparently, I think that had some sort of an impact on my Zoom connectivity, and subsequently, I started noticing these very bizarre glitches once I turned my camera on, where it looked like my face would freeze, and so I would start doing these interesting things where I would just be checking, because I had some latency occasionally, but now as I was looking at it, my screen would start glitching and my face would look like this. And weird stuff would happen. My eyelids would move just completely irrespective of one another, actually. So there's a lot of nonsense happening. I restarted everything in the hopes that would quell the nonsense, and it has not worked. So there's still just going to be some apparent what flags on the play.
Well, it seemed to have only happened after you hopped off the YouTube connection, so maybe that...
Here's hoping.
Maybe that just shook things
up. It gave me a mind of like those old video games where it's still a live action person talking, but they only have like 2 or 3 sprites and it's cycling through them. So it looks like it's just like very jerky, like trying to communicate. Where you're
I
only
prefer 7-Up personally, but
yeah, exactly. But that's the kind of idea that I got. Either that or a really good analog horror take. But
indeed.
Still,
we might be starting our own subgenre this evening.
Ooh,
but now to back to the nature at hand here. What do you think of Nicolas Cage as the Lord of Darkness?
Absolutely excited for it. Though I do want to hold on to that canon that it is the sequel to Vampire's Kiss, don't know how well that'll hold. I can already see it crumbling with that simple trailer.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna just like a fan fiction, auteur. I will hold on to it with my dying breath.
You're going to ship those two plot lines and hope that they entangle.
It's my headcanon, and I will be damned if anyone will tell me otherwise.
Well, there's nothing to say there's not a scene where he just runs through the streets going, I'm a vampire.
Exactly. Maybe that's the point where he has his awakening and realizes, oh, fuck, I am actually Dracula. And
his sexual awakening, maybe?
Yeah, both. Vampire awakening, sexual awakening. It's the same thing in my eyes for Nicolas Cage.
He's about to climax.
Sucking.
He says, hi fucking yeah. And
hi fucking yeah. But yeah. That I like that trailer. I was trying to place who the main protagonist is. He looks
Renfield?
Yes. He looked familiar, but I couldn't place the actual actor.
He's Beast.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was going to say he's Beast, but wasn't he also on another Romeo
he's
and
been in
Juliet
many films.
type vampire film as well, though, I think? Or zombie film. I think he was I think it was some sort of Romeo and Juliet meets zombies film.
I think the last thing I saw him in that was advertised was some weird sort of softcore porn on Netflix. What was masquerading as a bad Cinemax film from back in the day, where it's two people that are trying to have an open relationship but can't seem to make it work. I saw him as this is a reputable actor in something that's absolutely horrific from a plot standpoint, and yeah.
I know where I remember him from. Warm Bodies.
Yes, that would make sense.
Was the Romeo and Juliet zombie flick from half a decade ago.
And was also similarly pale, so would stand to reason.
Yes, he looked just about as dead in both movies.
The trailer here, with the coloring and the text font that was used, gave me some vibes of the Rob Zombie Monsters film.
Okay. Stands to reason. The campier elements are interesting. The one thing, as somebody who's read and watched and then appreciated all the various permutations of Dracula and Renfield as a character, I still think you can't eclipse Tom Waits as Renfield from the Bram Stoker Dracula. Was just too pitch perfect. But the fact that now they've turned it on the sort of Pride and Prejudice and zombies kind of head here of he eats the bugs to then get superpowers. Yeah. Tickled me to death. I thought that was a very interesting conceit for the film. So I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Way better than just sparkling like a diamond or anything like that. So
yeah, I'm very interested to see what they do, if they explain how Dracula is able to give him the powers. Is he able to remove the powers once he's bestowed them?
Well, I would presume that Renfield is a thrall in this case, but not a completely obedient thrall. So maybe a ritual gone wrong or something like that.
I think he got the power by singing Snap's 1992 hit song, I've Got the Power, and that's how you get that channeled into your body, if I recall.
Okay.
That
seems reasonable.
That might be CNC Music Factory, though. I don't recall. That's I'm a little dodgy on my early 90s pop music here, but I'm trying.
I tapped out after Pump Up the Jam.
Well, I can understand why. I should have left the train after Rhythm is a Dancer, but I kept soldiering on.
Groove is in the heart, brother.
That's what I hear. But as we're having these discussions, I realize that I have a bona fide new hook for our prior Florida Man discussions.
Oh.
Because as I confessed when doing the prior iterations, I pulled my other headlines from ScanBC. Mm-hmm. And given that I am encroaching upon the fabled Canadas now myself, and we have I don't want to call you a former Canadian because you're always a Canadian in your heart, right? So we have a dyed-in-the-wool Canadian on the line. I think this might be an even more intriguing reality for me to start playing, whether or not our resident Canadian here can differentiate between Florida hijinks and Canadian hijinks.
So
Canadian
Saskatchewan man?
hijinks.
Saskatchewan man?
Well,
Well,
it's
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 more like
Scan BC.
Newfoundland.
So if you're not familiar, they have a Twitter profile where they publish all of the police blotter sort of headlines from British Columbia.
Oh, okay.
And they're delightful. If you're a Smodcast listener, it was a routine bit that Scott Mosier and Kevin Smith would routinely go back to. They would read headlines from Scan BC just because they said it was so, quaint and homogenized and pasteurized in some of the headlines. It was like, we'll see whether or not some of that plays out here.
Well, I hope that I'd be able to get it because BC, that's like my stomping grounds.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where you
So-
found out, ugly sweaters. It's where you started that trend. So,
That's right.
It
Oh,
is
look at
canon.
you. Look at the big brains on Brad.
Yeah. Someone's got to be the lower master of this podcast since Courtney has unfortunately left us.
Oh, I'm just amazed by your retention. Honestly, like every time I learned something new, it pushes something old out of my brain. So I'd already forgotten that I'd even told that story.
Hey, flock of seagulls, how about you tell my partner where you got your shit hit at?
That's right. Hamburgers,
Okay.
the cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast.
Big Kahuna Burger. So as I've indicated here, I think it would be fun. We got to finish off Florida Man, yes or no, and we still have a lie present here, and so I'm very excited to unveil this. And so I think it will have enough to just get us through. I think it's only like 3 pages here.
Okay.
Worth of material. So, for those of you who have not followed along, this is in keeping with our series of Florida Man Yes or No, where I will read a headline, and my fellow co-hosts here are going to determine whether or not we have got someone from Florida or not who's done this. But did I even intro the show? Do we even know who we are right now?
We did not behold anything.
Okay, all right. Well, as you can tell, I'm a little out of sorts. It's important for context. Yeah, I'm very sleep deprived. I have a dying dog and a sick wife, and the cavalcade of nightmarish circumstances that have sort of beset me this last week have been delightful.
This last month, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah,
with
I was
you.
going to say, I've been a little out of sorts since like mid-November. So maybe
Yeah.
2024, I might finally get to start looking up.
Woo!
So
Look forward to
I'm
that, gents.
not necessarily myself at the moment. So for those of you who have no idea what the hell is going on here, nor who we are or what's happening, by the eternal, behold.
Behold.
It is 20 minutes into the Disinformed podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Michael.
And Michael.
God, this is like a bad ABC sitcom from the 90s now. Okay, so for dedicated listeners, you will have heard this several times, but if this is your first time going through, hopefully it's entertaining.
Whew.
But are we ready for what might be the final installment of Florida Man?
Give it to me.
All right. So, Florida men taken into custody at a crash site on the 95 freeway who were dancing on the roof of their totaled van whilst wearing kilts.
So now we have an additional element where it could be from British Columbia. Is that correct?
Yes, I predominantly lifted my other headlines from Scan BC. Now, that's not always the case, and again, there is one that is a total fabrication in here.
I think this is true.
You think this is Florida?
No.
So
you think
are
this
we
is
guessing
true?
Jersey,
Well-
Florida, or BC? Is that what we're after?
No, so this is just, it's going to be Florida, yes or no. Either this
Okay,
took
got
place
it.
in Florida
Okay.
or it didn't take place in Florida, and then
Okay.
whether or not you feel this is a total fabrication, which there's only one of those.
I don't feel this is a lie. I can
Yeah, I think
picture
it's true.
people dancing on top of their totaled car because at that point, what else are you going to do?
Well,
yeah,
and
it's a
the
fine
kilts.
point. Yes.
Eh,
A kilt lifter, in fact.
I'm going to say no to Florida.
Okay.
Oh, I am going to say Florida.
Okay. Well, as a matter of stern fact, this is not Florida.
Ah!
It's a delightful time, I know.
Is
but,
it British Columbia? Were they freezing their gonads off while they were dancing on top of their wrecked, husk of a
Presumably.
car?
Mhm.
Hell yeah.
No, they're moose.
Metal as fuck.
A term frequently utilized to describe Canadians, but Though on that matter, I was going to discuss, we're going to have a tributary of thought at some point, not necessarily now, but I need to get your top 5 Canadian bands, Doctor.
Oh, well, we can go over the top 5 some other time, but I'll just say Tragically Hip has to come in at the number 1 slot.
Okay. Well, for you, maybe, but...
No, for any Canadian. When Gord passed away, he died of brain cancer.
Engorged Gord, yes.
When he died of brain cancer, when he died, there was a day of mourning. The Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, he talked about the legacy of the Tragically Hip. For their final concert, everybody came out, like every Canadian celebrity came out.
Everyone in Canada came out.
So I'm just
all
saying that
descended, yes.
Yeah, they are by far the biggest Canadian band that never made it big down south.
Okay. I was going to say, it's an important qualifier that you threw out there.
Oh, no, for sure, yeah, and in terms of that. And they are like the quintessential Canadian band, I'd say.
Right.
I'd definitely say, I think it's like 94, their album Road Apples. Gold from start to finish. Definitely got to give that a
You are
listen.
very fond of that one, I recall.
Yeah, exactly. See, I never remember when I've said something, but yeah, Tragically
Join the
Hip,
club,
easily
friend. Yeah, I don't
we
remember
got
who
a lot
I
of
am.
episodes where we don't remember if we said stuff or not, so...
Well, also, he and I have just had offline conversations, which is one of those fun things that,
Fair.
we may or may not bleed over at some point. So he and I get to time warp here from time to time. But okay, so here we go. The police respond to reports of an active shooter at Kissimmee Elementary School, only to discover a man throwing snow cones at traffic.
See, I don't know. The snow cones, I feel like...
This is an active shooter.
Well, like I could lean heavily towards Canada because like Kissimmee sounds like it would be an Aboriginal name, and I know that Aboriginal cultures.
I did admit previously that I specifically selected places from Florida and flew them into most of the Vancouver things so that the names would be changed to protect the innocent. So Kissimmee is actually in Florida.
Yeah, I was going to say... because that's what I thought first, but okay.
Well, snow cones.
I know.
I'm going to say because the fact that snow cones are an actual major point, they're not just throwing snow. I'm going to say Florida.
And I'll just be contrarian. I did it last time, so I'm going to go not Florida.
Okay. Well, technically, Doctor is correct. This didn't take place in Florida, and in fact, this didn't take place anywhere because this was the lie.
Oh,
so
well done.
Damn
it.
There was a listing of like police responding to an active shooter, and they couldn't find a suspect. So just nothing happened. There were no shots fired. There was nothing happening, but they responded appropriately. And I was like, wouldn't it be funnier if they showed up and there's just a guy just whipping snow cones out of traffic and just throwing that at the car? So that's my piss poor attempt at comedy, but
no, it was well done. Honestly,
like
my initial knee-jerk reaction was that was a bullshit one, but then when you paused to say, oh well, no, Kissimmee is in Florida, then I was like, oh, there's an air of okay, hold on a second. So he's taking the time. It's a real place. So it's probably real, and then it led me down the wrong path.
I do try to formulate my lies slightly better than my bespectacled counterpart here, but
not saying much there, but
Caesar was a salad dressing dude.
What?
All right. Moving on, Florida man documented in a new Vice series has eaten nothing but mac and cheese for over 17 years.
True. Yeah.
Well, we know it's true.
I'll say
Florida. Yes, Florida.
I'll say Florida.
That is, it is in fact Florida, and I did watch that Vice episode with Melissa, and he has eaten, and it's specific. He can only eat the Velveeta shells and cheese. The other types of mac and cheese, he says anything if there's a textural difference, it makes him start to feel like he needs to regurgitate. Like it's a fascinating, look it up. It's on YouTube. You can find the entire installment. Yes. He has eaten nothing but macaroni and cheese for 17 years. So he's now seeing like a psychotherapist and a nutritionist to try to find ways to relieve this. But, it's fascinating to go into. He was abused and abandoned by his parents, and there's a lot of other sort of material that has helped to feed into this. But yeah, it's
was adopted by the Kraft family. Like,
no, the Velveeta family.
Oh,
yes,
fair,
exactly.
Okay. See, I think
two different.
I think that's what throws me off is like if he. Because there's so many different types. Yeah, of course you're going
Kraft dinner over here.
Well, yeah, of course. But no, there's just so many different varieties. I mean, you even have like the Cheetos flaming hot ones and stuff.
Have you tried any of those?
I have. I tried both.
Those
the jalapeno one was boring. The flaming hot one was good.
I'm amazed I'm the one person on the call who has not tried those. Well, I shouldn't say that. I have someone who's now completely allergic to dairy, so I don't typically have cheese. Yeah. So, but yeah, I've looked at those, and the gimmick lover in me is like, I have to try that, right? It's Cheetos, like, but I have not actually made the Nestea plunge yet. So
the gimmick man in me is precisely why I tried it. I got both, and like I said, the jalapeno one. Boring, just very normal, nothing special about it. But the flaming hot one was quite good.
Now, I will confess, actually, the jalapeno Cheetos are actually my favorite.
No, the Cheetos themselves are good,
fantastic.
But it doesn't transfer over well to a mac and cheese.
I was like, they would have gotten me with the mac and cheese. Like, I would have thought that would have been a easy go-to. But so are you similar to me in that, like, when a fast food restaurant throws on like really bad gimmicks, like Sam of Damn the Weather fame is very well noted as anytime something came up, like anytime Taco Bell threw on a new thing, like the mac and Cheetos from Burger King, like had to make an immediate beeline to go sample it just to see how bad it is.
I will always try something strange and weird where there's a juxtaposition of two things that I wouldn't expect to be right with each other. I have to give it a shot. And so especially with things that when they come out and they catch me with the advertising, limited time or limited run, and then I'm like, oh, well, I gotta try it now because if I don't try it now, when am I gonna get to?
It's an expiring offer.
Yeah, exactly.
Act now.
Act now, or exactly. So, but yeah, no, I thought it was quite good. But with regards to the mac and cheese man, I could somewhat like empathize and understand if he was like bouncing around all the different varieties, right? Sometimes we're just doing like. The Kraft dinner that you just throw in the microwave in the little cups. And other times we're doing like the super bougie Gouda mac and cheese from like some high-end restaurant. So if he was bouncing all around here and only living within the mac and cheese wheelhouse, I could be like, okay, I mean, I'd mix it up personally, but I could at least understand. But if he's limited to Velveeta. I can vibe with it.
Yeah. Like 17, I feel like I would start seeking help after like 2 weeks.
But see, you're looking at it from the perspective of someone who, well, I'm going to have to, of course, correct this sentence even as it flows out of my mouth. You're looking at it from a non-neurodivergent perspective there, and that this is someone who's suffering a compulsion. So it's not like they're doing it because, it's just sheer love and adoration. It's that there's something very specific to that which hits their neural pathways and gets them into a state of being comforted and makes it so where they can function. But like everything else makes him nauseous just at the thought of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's something there that is a compulsion generally. And even he cannot eat any of the Velveeta products that have other things. Like there's ones that have bacon in it, some that have broccoli added, things like that. He can't eat the varieties either. If there's something else that's new as a variable, throws him off.
Does he take vitamins or something, or like how does he get all his nutrients?
No, he's just in terrible shape.
We closed out last week's conversation with a joke about cholesterol, and I feel like this guy must just clogged arteries up there.
Yeah.
Well, most the Velveeta cheese isn't really cheese, so you don't have to worry.
That
too
makes
much.
it worse. It's like 60% plastic. Are you making a sales pitch
for it being healthier, Michael?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that
fine.
It's probably more plastic than anything else. So I don't think he has to worry about cholesterol. He probably has to worry about a million other things, but I don't feel like cholesterol would be on his top list of concerns.
Well, welcome.
As someone, I just want to say it because I am neurodivergent.
Here we go.
It is
flying
well
the flag,
established. Yes, exactly. As someone that will hyperfixate on something and spend hours doing absolutely inane bullshit, I feel like I would acknowledge a lot more quickly that I have something that needs to be addressed when all I will eat is Velveeta cheese, like mac and cheese. Like, I can't live like this. I need to go seek help because I can't eat nothing but Velveeta cheese. So,
did you reference he has a wife, Shane, during the story? No. Okay, sorry. I thought maybe.
Go watch this thing.
I was like,
in the latest installment of White Men Talk About Nonsense. But
True.
I know the conceit of the whole show here, but yes, it's worth investigating just for the sake of figuring it out, because it's a fascinating story. All right, in continuation, Florida man walks into stranger's home, removes clothes, and starts shouting, 5, 6, 7, 8, Grandma! Grandma!
See, that is where I would call out the bullshit. But since we've already established that this has to be true, Florida man, I guess.
Yeah, it's the grandma. If you had said Nana, I'd be leaning, okay, maybe more Canada, but grandma has me thinking, no, probably
Do they
Florida.
say Nana up there, up north?
Yeah, that's the usual term that I'm familiar with.
The common idiom, yes. Yeah. I just thought this person's like a King Diamond fan and just, Grandma, what was it like? This is, in fact, Florida man, so well done. A good time had by all. Okay.
How did that... Do you know how that ended?
It's a lot of these. I just pulled the headlines, so it's just, again, there's a degree to which I can be bothered to do research. Some of this, the Velveeta thing, it's purely like, what's funny is I wrote this document up just pulling headlines. I stumbled across that thing while watching YouTube one evening, and completely irrespective of this, watched it just because I thought it was fascinating, and then went back, and as I was looking at this, like, holy shit, that was that guy. I watched
running into a room at night and yelling out "Grandma." I think that was Richard Ramirez's catchphrase too.
Mm-hmm. But I also love that it's like, we got the Bob Fosse, like, count me in, Jim. 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's what I want to know. I want to know: do the residents, the owners, like, do they just jump in too? Does this turn into a musical number?
Like it's like the Rockettes, like, yeah, they're just doing a kicking line.
Yeah, do they like burst out through the door and other neighbors join them? Is this like a giant, like, are we starting to snap and sing West Side Story in it? Or
Hope it's not Ed Gein and he just removed his clothes so he could start putting Grandma on.
Ooh, touche.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's a titty bit nipply here. So, moving on, Florida man arrested at Fell Marina for driving a silver Honda Civic on the docks while smoking a bong.
Oh, this is BC. It's got to be BC.
He sounds so sure of it. I'm gonna defer to him.
Tell me why you're so convinced. That's my question.
Is that what they do out there?
Well, BC Bud, for starters, like ferries and stuff used all the time. Docks are, obviously a big part there. I know they are in Florida too, but BC Bud is like the second best in the world. So,
oh God, here we go. You should go to Amsterdam. You're going to love it there.
That's right.
Got the advocate for the best weed north of the border.
We dip our fries in mayo too. I seen it.
I believe that's called poutine it where it don't belong. But all right. Yes, this is in fact a British Columbia situation.
So glad. I was like, yeah, it's not even a question.
Yeah. He's stoned, obviously. British Columbia. All right. Florida man breaks into ex-girlfriend's home, shits on belongings.
Oh,
I feel like that could apply anywhere.
Yeah, it's kind of universal. Shit on my house, man.
I'll say not Florida man, only because I feel like, to quote from an earlier, part of this, I feel like it's too pedestrian.
Here we go.
I'm gonna give my Canadian brethren more credit than this, so I'm gonna say Florida man.
I would say, in my estimation, Canadians are a bit more esteemed than just going in and defecating in order to show their, distrust or enmity. But so there's some Can't Buy Me Love fans out here that caught my reference, and I love and appreciate you. But yes, you are correct. This is Florida man.
Take his Florida man card away.
No, that's an exact Florida man. And for all you know, her house was named
He would have
out.
drove up
he
on
just
like
went to the outhouse.
motorcycle, still shitting as he's going, flew into the house, then defecated everywhere, then somehow like stole a dog or something and rode that into the night. Like that seems more
rode the
Florida
dog
man.
into the night.
Yes, absolutely.
Take that as you will.
Sir Didymus and Ambrosius here.
Exactly. I feel that is more. That is more Florida man.
I just love
shitting on belongings.
No, I would say the closest thing to like real Florida man is that he actually still lived with her and went in and just shit in his own home as opposed to breaking in. But okay.
No, I like that better. Yeah.
Florida firefighters are responding to Vero Beach residents for idiots setting off fireworks in September.
That sounds like Florida. I feel like they just love their fireworks. They got Disney World. They like to shoot off fireworks every night.
No, I'm going to say not Florida.
Okay. This is, in fact, a BC happening.
Oh.
That's what I was like, no, I'm going to say not Florida. I could see this happening.
I also love that they included the word idiot here to describe them.
I was wondering if that was you.
No, that was them. No, they called them idiots in the headlines, so...
Well, it's so funny because I don't think September's. I mean, like, Canada Day is in July. And, September's just 2 months later. I don't feel like it's that crazy.
If you've been on that long of a binge, like,
Well, that's why I said not Florida. I was like, no, I could see myself lighting fireworks in September. Just
it's like, come on, who celebrates Canada Day with fireworks? Really?
Everybody.
Oh,
we have the celebration of light down at. So in BC, if you go down to English Bay for Canada Day, you have the celebration of light, and you get just this beautiful fireworks show. They send out like a bunch of boats out into the bay, and they light them. They all send them off from the bay, so you just get the lovely imagery in the sky, but you also get the great reflection of all the fireworks off the water in the bay.
This is when you've had a bunch of that BC bud, though.
Exactly. Okay. Yes, you're as high as the fireworks are.
Indeed.
Oh, okay.
See, I'm just envisioning someone just relaxing with a maple bar outside of, like, at the T-Hose and enjoying an evening. I didn't realize fireworks.
We don't have maple bars, but we have like Coffee Crisp and just all sorts of different goods. I had a Coffee Crisp earlier today. And
of course you did.
Mr. Big's Coffee Crunch. And just crispy. Yeah, all sorts of crispy crunches. Oh, so good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I defy that. So there is no such thing as a maple bar.
Well, of course, there's a maple bar.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
No, but
that's not how you celebrate Canada Day.
Well,
though.
No, but nobody has a maple bar for that. That's just like something. It's probably for tourists that come up expecting it to be for that. We have Nanaimo bars now. Nanaimo bars.
Oh,
those are
Nanaimo! Oh, the delightful time at the famed Nanaimo bar.
Oh, you love it, man! You take it the most.
I would, in fact, take it the most. That is another one of those glorious Smodcast hits. They are very fond of discussing the Nanaimo bar. They used to torment. Oh, so when I was in Bellingham with Melissa, we were driving, and they had the signposts for Nanaimo. So I would adopt that affectation. It was just, we got to drive up to Nanaimo. Oh, we could go to the Peelers. Oh, it'd be a grand old time in Nanaimo. I've never had a better. And yeah,
I love that you're
me.
adopting like a Newfie accent. Like
exactly. Yes, I know. That's what makes it fun, is just to see, for those who've never been to Canada or had interactions, nary a clue. But
it sounded like you were doing a tame Irish accent, to be perfectly honest.
Well, that's Newfoundland accent sounds very Irish.
Oh,
which if you're a fan of Great Big Sea, you'll see that's how you get to a lot of those. But which is in my top 5 of Canadian bands. Just
interesting. Okay.
No, I'm a big fan. Stolen from a good friend of mine, Big Blake, who got me hooked on Great Big Sea. But okay, we'll see. This one has a bit of a verisimilitude with a prior issuance, but I'm sure you'll appreciate it. Florida man torches girlfriend's car, then proceeds to have sex with her on the beach.
I was hoping you were going to say on the burned husk of the car, but
while it was burning.
No.
Like a White Snake video.
I know if she knew.
Let it cool down. You let it cool down first.
Like, did she know, or was this like, him setting it on fire and then just meeting up with her at the beach and going out, and then she gets back and like, what happened?
I don't kink shame. If that's what gets her off, that's what gets her off.
See, I'm over here thinking it's like Night Owl and Silk Spectre in, the owl thing, just spurting fire as they're having sex. But
see, I was thinking more like, they had already had sex before. He found out some bad news at the doctor, and then he was pissed off because her ride left him with some burning feelings. So he decided to give some burning feelings to her ride.
And then do it again.
Well, he's already, you already caught it. You might as well before you.
Yeah, I mean,
you're already in too deep,
Yeah,
go
dip your wick, dip your wick in that candle again. Why not?
Yeah, to steal a phrase from a friend of ours, hasn't fallen off yet. So, okay.
I like that they chose the beach too. If you didn't have crabs from her before, they're gonna find crabs there.
Well, you can just roast them lightly over the car in order to get them to the appropriate temperature.
Ooh, steamed.
I'm gonna say
crabs.
Florida.
Soft shell crab. Okay.
Now because just we're thinking of crabs, I'm gonna say Florida.
Okay. That is in fact that is 100% Florida. That is dyed in the wool Florida. Okay. Now this one I do actually have a little more substantive information here in case we need to float along. But Florida man charged with groping women while posing as a palm reader.
Oh.
I don't know why, but I want to say that
BC.
That's a local thing, but I don't know why I want to say it's a local thing, like local to Arizona, but I don't know.
There are palm readers everywhere, my friend. I myself have a doctorate of palmistry from the University of Budapest.
Really?
So now you're qualified to go grope women?
No, I can touch their hands, though.
Exactly.
I can talk about their lifeline and their love line. I'm Dr. Drew. I can give you a little more in the way of material here, Michael, if that
fluff
helps.
Me, Daddy.
Yeah, exactly.
The subheading here: female shoppers in giant Sanford, Florida complex that houses Walmart accuse this gentleman, who I will leave nameless, of grabbing their chests during fortune-telling session.
Now, when you read palms, you're supposed to read their other palm. You're not reading with your palm.
Yeah,
I feel like the wires got crossed there.
They might not have read the fine print.
It's a matter of interpretation, I feel.
I can only read with my palms, so I have to, attach it to things.
It has him just walking forward like the giant from Pan's Labyrinth, the little cannibal. Like,
I forgot my crystal ball today. Mind if I use your orbs?
But
better than you saying better. Can I use your balls?
I mean, any port in a storm.
Exactly. I'm gonna say Florida.
I'm gonna say BC, so I'm gonna go not Florida. Maybe.
Okay, he's sticking with BC.
Do they have Walmarts up there?
Yes, we have Walmarts up there.
They invented Walmarts up there in Canada.
It's funny is I would be offended by that on behalf of the folks, except that
I was gonna say it's a compliment.
Well, there is Walmarts up there, but in 2014, Target tried to break into the Canadian market and failed miserably. Yeah, surprisingly. So like Zellers used to be. So Zellers is a kind of the cheap chain of Hudson Bay Company. So Hudson Bay Company is like very equivalent of like what Sears used to be back in the day when Sears was big.
Still fucking bizarre that they're like relevant at all.
And Zellers was like the Walmart of Canada. So there were Walmarts around, but Zellers was the big chain that was like a Walmart. And then, maybe 20 years ago or something like that, Walmart really started to get a lot more of a foothold. And then the old Zellers that I used to go to got shut down. And then this is like 2012-ish. And that's when Target went in and they like scooped up a lot of the old Zellers retail stores and converted them all to Targets. And we're making a big push to become like, a big thing in Canada. And then just bombed out terribly. There was like, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was like I don't know if it was a supply chain issue or whatnot, but there was like social media was flooded with pictures of like empty shelves where like you'd go to Target because you'd want something, but like literally like that there'd be entire aisles where there'd be like one product in the entire aisle. So they quickly shut down within like a year and a half and backed out. And then a lot of the old Targets that were old Zellers have now become Walmarts. So like my parents there, the Zellers that we used to shop at briefly was a Target and now is the Walmart, and that's where they shop at.
Oof.
As a very vocal supporter of Target in general, which is still, that was where I asked to make a return trip to the Target in Bellingham while we were up there, because I was just so besotted with the concept of a different Target than one that I had seen before. Yeah, I'm a fan, but it's a much different experience going to Target than it is to Walmart. I feel like I don't have to wear a flak jacket.
Much different clientele.
Yes, and also, like, yes, the pricing is different, and I'm sure, Target being a bit more expensive in general probably didn't do them any favors trying to break into the Canadian marketplace, but, well, fascinating. I just recently discovered Fred Meyer within the time of having moved up here, which has just been an absolute delight because you can literally, store, right? Yes, but it's also like it's sundries, so you can get anything there. Like I'm fairly certain I bought a '67 Pinto hatchback the last time I was there.
Nice.
It's fascinating, but
oh yeah, sales.
Grand time. There's, but I'd known of Fred Meyer for years because Glenn Phillips of Toad the Wet Sprocket fame has a song about Fred Meyer on his debut solo album, and I was like, oh, what a fascinating, fun thing, and I was like, oh, this is an actual chain. This exists.
What other chains are up there? Don't they have like Ralph's and Albertsons and Safeways and such?
No. There is a Safeway, which I live by a Safeway, which is my hallmark for finding an appropriate home for myself. Is if there's a Safeway within walking distance, it's meant for me. As Michael can attest to from my prior home, there was a Safeway literally across the street from my house. Yes. In the house that I had lived to prior to that, there was a Safeway literally across the street, and now just down the block, there's a Safeway just down the hill from my apartment complex. So that is available. But yeah, I have not explored much of the town, unfortunately, just due to trappings and being home and the dog situation and all the other things. I haven't really gotten to leave. I was finally able to get a license plate and register my automobile up here, which trying to get a title from Arizona is delightful. So avoid that. By the way, Michael, if you don't already have the title to your automobile, Arizona is no longer giving physical copies of titles any longer. It is all electronic.
They don't give physical anything. And if they do, it'll take 3 to 5, weeks to send it out to you because they don't want to hand it to you in the actual organization, the building, and anything.
Correct.
So,
but I was handed 2 license plates in the DMV here in Portland while I was, just hanging out in the building. They gave it to me straight away. I was absolutely flummoxed. I had no idea how to respond. I was like, "Oh my God, you have them on hand? That's amazing. Well done."
They did that here in Virginia as well.
Okay.
When I switched over from Texas, just handed them straight to me, and then I went over to the oil to get my oil changed, and was like, just talking to the guy. I was like, "I just moved here. I don't have screwdrivers or anything. I don't know how the hell I'm going to switch over these plates because now my Texas ones are no good." And he's like, "Just give it to me," and he just did it for me. Thank goodness.
Fantastic.
Some of that
People
Southern
are
charm,
nice
gentlemen.
outside of Arizona? That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's right. Southern hospitality.
Here's the thing, we're going to start, I'm sorry that we've gone on this. Before we get any further afield from here, this was, in fact, Florida man. The individual 52-year-old Florida man who likes to troll shopping malls has been charged with battery after groping women while posing as a palm reader, authorities said. In any event, the thing that threw me off completely is I'm not allowed to pump my own gas in this state. They actually have individuals that are set up at the pumps all day, and that is their sole job. The library that I just interviewed today said that their crew is unionized, so they now have a unionized workforce, and they're asked if I'd ever worked with a union before. I was like, no, I'm from Arizona. It's a right-to-work state. Nobody cares about the workers there. So, but when we first pulled in, Melissa's like, now, you can't pump your own gas. You just have to hand the card out to them and tell them what you want. And I was completely frozen. Like, I rolled the window down, the guy's like, hi. I was like, hi, how are you? Like, good. And then we just sat at an impasse. And then she's like, tell him what you want. I was like, I need gasoline.
You've come to the right place.
Thank you.
You're not allowed to?
Correct.
That is so strange.
That's
New Jersey has a similar. You can't pump your own gas in New Jersey. I have no idea why. I haven't investigated it. I'm sure it has something to do. They are very stringent about emissions here in particular, and so I think there's an idea of conservation that's here, but it also probably has something to do with a unionized job. I just don't recall.
Could be true, yeah.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating, but also it's wonderful because I don't have to get out of the car to pump gasoline. You just pull up to the pump, the guy takes the card, they ask if you want a receipt, and then you just sit there.
It just feels so antiquated, like, an old school gas jockey there,
Yep.
Like, it feels very 1970s-ish.
Now, ask me if I had any, crisis of conscience sitting there going, do I need to tip this individual?
Oh,
I
bet. I bet you did. Yeah,
man, it was a grand time.
You're like sitting there, like looking up on Google, like, do I tip cast jockeys?
Do you? Do you have to? Are you supposed to?
Not that I'm aware of, and I certainly haven't been. But also the first time I encountered one, the reason I was so stymied is we were at like hour 14 of trying to make it through the drive of that day, and I still had like at least another hour and a half to go before we were going to make it to where we were staying for the evening. So I was delirious by the time I pulled up to that pump, and the guy looked very similar to Logan, the bassist from Damn the Weather. And so, like, my brain was, like, trapped in several different weird sort of labyrinths trying to get me out of this. It was like, okay, hand him your debit card, tell him you would like regular unleaded gasoline, and just let him leave and not be like, you know who you remind me of? Young man.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I mean, it's getting people jobs. I guess that's always a good thing. But man, what a shitty job to have, especially if it's snowing and stuff or raining.
It was.
Yeah, okay, the snowing, yeah.
It was very cold when we pulled up, and yeah, he was wearing a parka, like full on, had to take his gloves off to get the card to put it into the machine. I was like, this has got to be a miserable line of employment, but probably has very competitive wages, I would imagine.
Oh, I bet.
Hope so.
Shoot.
But
anything out there like probably has better wages than Arizona.
Now, this one we're going to see whether or not we've got a very attentive former listener, current co-host here. But headline that follows: Florida man charged with assault with a deadly weapon after throwing an alligator through a Wendy's drive-through window.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
In fact.
It is.
And this is a gator.
Plot twist.
Well, this has to be Florida. Like gators aren't going to be a thing that you're tossing. But now you're saying attentive, so now it makes me wonder, like, oh, as I forget things that I've said, you know, I'm definitely going to forget things in the past. So now I'm like, oh crap, is this some sort of Canadian story that was told in the past? And it's like, how attentive is this Michael fellow on the cast? But I'm still going to stick with Florida.
Well, I'll make you feel better. Also, this was something we've discussed on the podcast previously. We read this entire story out.
Yeah, I thought. Okay, yeah.
So this actually did happen, and I could see from the light in Michael's eyes as I read it that he had a recollection as we were talking about this. So
I was like, I do recall that. Yes.
Yes. Just pulled up and just threw the alligator in the window. There's photographic evidence and video of him doing so. Which
that's right. I've seen the video of that.
Nuts. But yes, that was in fact Florida. Okay.
Go Gators.
Bless them.
Have you guys ever had gator?
I have. It's actually, I had some at Papado in Phoenix, which if you're still in that locale, Michael, I'm talking to you, phenomenal, wonderful restaurant. They fly their fish in every day. So it is fresh on the daily and it's exquisite. But yes, they had some lovely gator balls. Very delightful.
Yeah, I had gator at the Texas Renaissance Festival a few times. Very delicious.
Yeah, I'm frustrated people aren't killing them more, to be completely candid.
Yeah, I've had a emu, gator. I've never had kangaroo, but it's on the list eventually. I'll try any animal. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you a hypothetical here.
Well, before we get there, I have a kangaroo scrotum that is sitting out. My brother went on his mission to Australia and sent me back a little change purse that is made out of kangaroo.
What kind of gift is that?
It's one my brother would give me. So, yeah, we have a very bizarre sense of humor betwixt us. But okay.
That poor kangaroo.
I've seen some of those bastards. I think this one deserved it.
Yeah.
We have an episode about it, for God's sakes.
Yes, we do.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
So my hypothetical to both you guys is basically just, let's say you went to a barbecue and you were served a burger. And it was the best burger you'd ever had in your life. You're tasting it. It's just juicy, fantastic, so good. Mouth-watering, blew your mind. You're like, you know, and then the host there said, do you want another one? And you say, well, of course I want another one. It's the best burger I've ever had in my life, right? And at that time, you're then
What, are you presuming I'm fat? I can't just stop at one burger?
Can you?
Very presumptuous.
Yes. Son of a bitch.
I can't. That is known. No self-control.
Well,
again,
once you've gone for the second burger, you are then informed that it was actually human meat. But
I was waiting for the long pork.
Yeah,
okay.
But you are made aware that there is no negatives in terms of health benefit or issues there. You're not going to have any sort of negative impacts if you continue it. Would you still have the second burger? Best burger of your life. Would you eat the second burger that you've been handed, or would you then put it down in disgust?
I would be asking them where they shopped.
Exactly. Like, is it ethically sourced? Is it non-GMO?
Oh, no, I don't care about any of that. I just want to know whether or not they're hiring.
Touche.
Because if they have anybody that needs to make sure we got farm-to-table fuckwit that's being thrown out in the world, I'm going to volunteer as tribute. I need that job. If I can kill some stupid people.
Would you eat the second burger?
Absolutely. Yes. No question. I don't value our species enough. Like, we need to, as Bob Barker once said, we need to decrease the surplus population here. So if I can eat a few humans and save us, from fossil fuel, eroding and all of the other terrible nonsense that's happening due to our presence, the cancer that we are to this planet, absolutely. I'll eat people.
So your answer is full of snark, but is it legitimately true? Because obviously you would not continue with the business because you don't want to be a party to murder and then end up in jail.
Absolutely, I want to be party to murder as long as I can't
have you
be.
Been listening to this podcast?
Now, based on your premise, this means that either one, this person has just taken it upon themselves, i.e., you. Once you've managed to H.H. Holmes half of the cherry pop and
I'm
daddies,
just trying to find out what to make for dinner when you guys visit.
I was going to say you fed me half the band. The tromboner apparently was very tasty, but if I've already completed the act and it was delicious and I'm hungry, I was like, why the fuck not? I'm just pretend you didn't tell me.
No,
exactly.
I think
plausible deniability. I'm not an accessory to murder.
But otherwise, if it is something that you've actually, gotten and it's sourced, then obviously it's got to be legal if somebody sold it. Or if it's like black market, dark web procurement here, then
I think that would be the operating assumption, is that it's probably, illegally obtained. Like you, I would also for sure eat it. I wouldn't continue to frequent the premises in which I obtained said burger just because I don't know what's going on in the basement or anything.
I don't.
Like that.
Yeah, I don't want to be next on the menu.
Exactly. I don't want to be next on the menu or there when the cops burst through the door. But if I'm already at the party and I found out, oh, this used to be Bob, and now I'm having Bob's burger.
Bob had bitch tits.
Yeah, then I would for sure have the second one, because if it tastes delicious, why not? I would eat anything. I would try anything at least once.
I've heard that about you. But okay. Well, before we run into time here, it's excellent. We love tangents. That's what we're here for. But eat your meat, children. If you don't eat your meat, you can't have any pudding.
Why can't you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat?
So, Florida woman detained after phoning 911 to report that her children were not doing their chores.
I feel like this happened also in Arizona.
I'm going to say Canada. I'm going to say BC again.
I'm going to say Florida, even though I do feel like it's a bit pedestrian for Florida.
This word, you use it. I don't think it means what you think it means. Yes, this is a British Columbia problem.
That's right, because the kids are being rude, and that is quintessential Canadian.
That is illegal in Canada. It is known.
I had to call the MPs because the kids weren't doing their chores. Oh, it's terrible.
MPs are military police. You're not going to call the military police for the kids. You're going to call the RCMP.
RCMP. Yeah. Okay. So
all the Mounties.
Yeah.
Florida man shines laser at cars while inserting a bag of marijuana in his rectum. We don't know if this is business or pleasure.
I'm going to say Florida. This is Florida, because you would need to shove the weed in your rectum in BC.
Hey, it gets to your system faster.
Everyone's smoking it. No, I guess, is it for business or pleasure? Because I feel like that changes a lot.
I don't know what the laser is intended to do if it's business, but
it's a distractionary tactic.
But
the drug sniffing cats can't come after you if they're too busy looking at the laser.
Okay, drug sniffing cats. Looking forward to them.
Exactly.
Well, in Florida, that might be a thing.
Exactly.
We learned from our last installment that the gentleman threw a fit at the strip club because he couldn't bring his cat with him. So
exactly
reasonable.
Cats have jobs out there. I'm gonna say Florida.
That's right. Couldn't bring his pussy with him to see the pussy.
Florida.
Just need a wet wipe afterward. But yes, that is in fact Florida. All right. Florida man caught picking hallucinogenic mushrooms with alligator in backpack.
Well, again, this has to be Florida. It's a gator.
I honestly feel like this is a trick.
There's nothing that says that I couldn't have just said there was an alligator in the backpack to make it seem
you
like
can
Florida.
add lies to the truths here?
Of course I can add lies to make it seem like it's Florida.
Oh.
I didn't on this one, but, you know.
He did say that he was just lying about a whole story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the gator is a crucial
embellish.
part of the story. Like, that's not an embellishment. That completely changes it.
But he never said he had to report those lies. He
That's
did
fair.
one
That's fair.
completely
What is this? Some sort of
story.
disinformed podcast or something? What is this
Strange.
nonsense?
Yes, I know. What we typically do
rules.
here on this show is that we like to... Okay, anyway.
I'll say Florida.
I'm not going to say Florida. I feel like it is too easy with the alligators.
Oh, it's totally Florida.
Yeah. Thank you.
I went too contrarian. Sorry.
It's very pedestrian of you to do so, but...
Exactly.
All right. We got a few more here. Florida man detained near the ferry dock in Port St. Lucie for doing donuts in his vehicle, striking a utility pole, snapping it in half, then attempting to flee the scene.
Oh, Canada. So this is not Florida.
The second I said ferry, I was like, this fucker's going to sniff this out super fast.
I do have to wonder if there are ferries that go out to the Keys.
Yes, there are ferries.
Okay, there are ferries. Ferries do exist in Florida.
And Port St. Lucie is also a Florida port. I specifically changed to pull that up. So, but yes, as we established,
BC.
But it also seems very, childish, which is a part of the joys of Scan BC. Yeah, is that it's a little more sophomoric, a little less like there was a guy who committed assault and robbery with a hockey stick. Like, just, because why wouldn't you, right?
See, now what would be really good is if somewhere in this list or in a future list, if you could find some gator story from BC, that would have completely thrown us off.
It's a fine point. And then the RCMP came in and gave him 2 minutes for high sticking. But, all right, moving on. Florida man attacks Walmart employees with a bag of potato chips.
Ooh. Now, what kind of potato chips? Are they ketchup chips? Because if so, it's definitely Canada.
Ketchup chips?
Yeah.
The fuck are ketchup chips?
They are a very popular chip in Canada.
Blah.
Well, no, I that doesn't answer my question. What the fuck are ketchup chips?
It's a ketchup flavored potato chip, Michael. It's not hard to extrapolate.
Why is that so shocking? You dip your French fries, which are also fried potatoes, in ketchup.
Yes, but I don't want my French fries to be made with ketchup.
But they're not made with
to dip them in ketchup.
Right, and so this is just a nice dusting of ketchup powder.
This is very pedestrian of you, Michael. I'm just going to say that.
That's right.
I mean, okay,
Exactly.
That's fair. Yes, you're right. I'm not
It is
as
a culinary treat.
Yeah, I'm very proletariat when it comes to things dealing with.
We also have
ketchup,
an all-dressed chip, and salt and vinegar is quite popular there, all the way.
Everyone loves salt and vinegar. That's fair.
Michael, what I'm going to say is that your stance on, the culinary arts is a bit, it's lagging a bit behind the way that culture is advancing, so you need to catch up. All right.
I'll say Canada. So not Florida.
Well, this is in fact Florida. So
damn.
Very sorry.
It depended all on the flavor of the chip, and you didn't tell me, so then I had ketchup in my head.
Yeah, you just
I was
ruined the
gonna
whole
guess
thing.
Florida only because assault with a deadly bag of chips is like, it requires such finesse, such skill.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. That pedestrian could not simply do that. You had to have someone that was trained in the arts of potato chip
as I said before,
warfare.
somebody who recently heard from their doctor that their cholesterol was too high. A bag of chips is a deadly weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but to be trained in it, definitely
Plus,
Florida.
if it has olestra, your anus is going to start leaking. So, but
and if it was Ruffles, oh my god, poor guy, whoever was attacked by it.
Also, if it was the chicken and waffles Lay's, that could be, assault and battering. So, okay, all the puns. We're getting through this. I got a few more. Florida man arrested at Urban Ninja Parkour for throwing a fit after staff canceled his membership. The man proceeded to climb a set of stability rails and began hurling medicine balls at onlookers.
It's got to be Florida. I hope that's not Canada. It's got to be Florida.
Because he was contrarian the first couple of times, I'm going to be contrarian. I'm going to say, BC.
This is, in fact, Canada.
Oh, damn.
Yeah!
Oh, damn.
We don't have medicine. No one can afford medicine in the United States.
Medicine balls are not medicine, sir. They're just workout.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Michael obviously cares about his fitness. All right. Sebring police responded to Cedar Hill Golf Course for 2 males hitting balls at houses from the tee-off green.
2 bales?
No, 2 males.
2 males. I was like,
2 males.
First I thought bales of cocaine, and I was like, wait, what?
2 males hitting balls at houses from the tee-off green. So not pointing towards the course, but the surrounding neighborhood.
Oh, Florida's got tons of golf courses. I'm going to say Florida.
Yeah.
Okay. And you would be wrong. This is, in fact,
damn.
Back to Scam BC. Again, I feel like if it's something you could envision a teenager doing, it's probably Scam BC. So if it's shitting in your girlfriend's house or, setting her car on fire and then fucking her on the beach, Florida. But, all right.
But if it's a tamer version, that makes sense.
I got 4 more here, my friends, and then we are done. Florida man arrested at the 900 block of Key Largo Road for reportedly trying to saw open the front doors of a storage unit while intoxicated.
I say this is Trump because you said Mar-a-Lago, but
I said Key Largo. It's a dramatically different locale.
That's fair. Key Largo,
Montego, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Fucking Courtney jokes all over again.
Callback.
Love you, kid.
I don't know. It does Florida. Sound. I'll say not Florida. It sounds like something that a teenager will do.
This is in fact a Canadian crime.
Oh, damn it! I was doing so good for a while.
You were.
And then now I'm 3-0. Oh, geez.
Well,
not good.
All right. This one is from, these have dates with them, bless them. April 13th, Florida man impersonating a police officer pulls over real police officers.
I think I heard about this story. I think it, you know what, now that I said it, it's gonna, now I'm gonna say the wrong answer and people are gonna be like, oh, you didn't actually listen to it.
No one listens to the show anyway. You're fine. You're safe.
Fair enough. I don't even listen. Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
It is, in fact, Florida. Of anything that you're going to do, hopefully they were undercover cops and you didn't just...
What's the scam? You pull over people and what's the end goal?
You're impersonating... No,
but I mean, what's the goal of pulling over the people? Hey, if you give me $20, I'll let you off. Is that...
I think, it's probably just some people have a power trip, but...
Yeah, I was going to say power fantasy of some sort, yeah.
But, okay. Florida man advises... quote unquote, legit counterfeit $$ on Craigslist and is arrested.
Ooh.
I love
because we're talking about now teenagers or lack of education, and I feel like that could fit in either way. I could see teenagers doing this, but I can also see people that just don't really know what's going on with their lives anymore doing that.
It's legit counterfeit.
Too legit.
To quit.
All right, I'm going to say Canada. This is not Florida.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree.
This is Florida. All right, this is the final one of the evening, friends. Let's see if we go out on a high note. Florida man lands gyrocopter on Capitol lawn to demand campaign finance reform. Is arrested.
Nope, that's not Florida, because if that happened in Florida, they would have been elected.
Yeah, not Florida.
Well, unfortunately, Ron DeSantis has proved us wrong again. This is Florida.
Damn.
I like the idea of them landing the copter in Victoria. And
yes, I agree. It seems like, Canadians would be a bit more civic-minded, and this is almost as though past Shane did future Shane a gift and said, if you've told them that it's Canada, let's throw them off the scent a little bit and just throw something that's completely out of bounds here. Here we go. So I'll give you a couple Scam BC headlines here, Michael, just so that you can appreciate some of the joys that the doctor has experienced in his life. But here's some things that Vancouverites have gotten themselves up to. Well, this is ones that I pulled from previously, but so we're skipping here. All right. Police are responding to Duchess Street for reports of 4 youths smoking pot in their apartment while their parents are on vacation.
Ooh.
Scan BC, the Richmond RCMP are responding to the Olympic Oval for an aggressive male shadowboxing and threatening people, which is one that I used in a prior episode.
Okay, I was like, I remember the shadowboxing.
Delta crews are responding to a house in Twassison for a 17... Thank you. For a 17-year-old male who accidentally shot himself in the eye with a BB gun. You'll put your eye out.
Oh, see, if that was a headline that you'd thrown out there, but changed the locale, I would have definitely thought Florida.
Ooh. This is one that I used previously. New Westminster. The police are responding to Ward Street after a caller heard a noise in their house and then found hot coffee and a muffin.
Yes.
New Westminster, that's where I went to college.
Well, bless you. Oh, here's nice. I'll share this with you. Here's a picture of the individuals who crashed wearing kilts and dancing on the roof of their van.
Yes.
So you can see what this lovely little thing looks like.
Oh, okay. When you said that the van
he's got leggings
crashed,
on. Okay.
I was thinking that it had turned over, flipped upside down,
nope.
I'm just disappointed by the tights.
Yeah.
That's not committing to the kilt.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going all in with the kilt, you have nothing underneath.
And
Absolutely
also a
nothing.
very violently colored hair. That's a little delightful. But
I hope that's not a wig.
Now, what's even worse is that they don't point out that this is a business, so it's a window cleaning group that is apparently
stunt.
Yes. So
all they were kilts, window cleaning kilts.
Indeed.
That's So I can appreciate that business model. You're filling a niche that people don't think that they need, but they secretly want.
But this is why, makes it even worse though, because it's a advertising stunt. So this is just a gimmick that they've set up, and they still didn't commit. The tights
exactly.
have got to go full in. If you're going to do the stunt, go all in.
Yep, you got to dangle.
Exactly.
Male reporting a fraud to Langley, BC RCMP after he sent $20,000 to a female on dating site. Doesn't want the police to attend because his wife is home. That is one I used in a prior episode.
Okay, because we had a conversation about that as well.
This is one I wanted to use, but didn't. Police have pulled over someone in a Zamboni at Highway 17 in Tanner, reported to be clearing snow on the side of the roads.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought that was a street legal vehicle in Canada. I thought that was something that you get on your 16th birthday.
No, what you got on a 16th birthday is a Zamboner. It's slightly different, but similar makeup.
Okay.
Long before 16. Oh, I didn't tell you, gentlemen. So we had this lengthy conversation about Tim Hortons recently.
And your, Bogarting coffee that died a slow death.
Yeah, I think I found this out after our conversation. So, chime in if I've already told this. But, I just left this past July, July 29th is when I arrived in Virginia from Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And after our conversation, obviously I'm thinking about Tim Hortons. It's, in the head and stuff. And I'm just kind of scanning through my news feed. And of course I still have various Austin, news organizations on the feed.
Of course.
And lo and behold, there's K-View from Austin, Texas with a big article about Tim Hortons plans to open 40 to 50 stores in Austin, Texas. And I'm like, I just fucking
Let's
left.
go back.
Yeah.
Pack up everything. We're going back.
I was like, unbelievable. I'm in Austin for 8 years, nary a word. And I just leave and Tim Hortons is like, oh yeah, let's open a few dozen stores there.
They were just waiting for you to leave. Once you step foot out, they're like, all right, let's start the planning process. Let's do this.
I kid
He's
you
gone.
not, that would have potentially stopped me from moving to Virginia. No joke. I may very well have been like, you know what, I could probably find something out here in Austin. If this news article came out 6 months earlier, I might still be in Texas.
See, I knew that you were that enthusiastic about having balls in your mouth. You just have to clarify that they're Timbits and not testicles.
That's right.
Well, speaking of sugary things being dropped in your orifices, This show wings your way every single wonderful week, I assure you, contrary to prior discussion points. And so please make sure that you like, subscribe, rate, and review, because we would love to hear from you. You can catch up with us every lovely Monday morning. Of course, we have some defunct social networks and some that are still wriggling on the hook.
Barely.
And you can find those in the link tree in the show notes below. Go check that out there. And please engage for Michael's sake, but know that I will probably delete your comment. Oof. And
that's where all my comments went from the past.
Yep. Just stopped. I assure you, I searched high and low, hither, tither, and yon. Nary a fuck to be found. Not one. Nary one. So
it's very difficult to find.
Yes. So, love and kisses to all of you out there, all of you actual lovely supporters, and for you folks who are subscribing. I kid, I only hate you as much as I hate everybody else. So, I think that is going to officially wrap this flounder up for the evening, and so, for the fabulous folks here at the Disinformed podcast, I'm Shane.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Michael. And zippity zoop, we're out of here.
We really are just like 2 hairs away from being the freaking Ghostbusters commercial. We're ready to believe you.